Hello again. I got a request after my Dorothy's Dates coffee cake for something with almonds. An almond coffee cake, an almond ring, some sort of vintage recipe cake. I did run across one and she wanted vintage. Now my recipe says 1971, so I assume that might be vintage. I don't know. Here we go. This is very easy and you need very few ingredients. The one you might not have on hand is almond extract. You want to get some of that. So the first thing I will do is put this together, the flour, the butter, and the water. And that's going to make the base. I will spread that out on some parchment paper, and then we're going to make, this is similar to a choux pastry. I've made eclairs and cream puffs, and that's what we'll put together next. First, we're going to put together the base, shape it out on parchment paper. Bam! Then we're going to do the top. For the base, I have 1/2 cup softened butter, 1 cup flour, 2 tablespoons of water. Then, for the choux, or the filling, I'm going to use 1/2 cup butter, 1 cup water, 1 teaspoon almond extract, 1 cup flour, and 3 eggs. And last, when you're all done, you're going to drizzle it with a glaze. And for that, I'm going to use, I don't know if you can see that, powdered sugar, almond extract, a little butter, and then drizzle some slivered almonds on top. So let's get going with the base. Okay, so for the base, I'm going to put my cup of flour in a bowl, my 1/2 cup of softened butter into here, and then I'm going to cut it in. Cut it in? What do you mean? I'm going to use this pastry cutter, or else you can use a fork, or you can use your hands. I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to cut this together, and this is what they mean by cutting together. Sometimes I end up using my hands. You maybe have one of these and have never even used it. They're very handy. And you're going to want to work that butter in so it's like little pebbles when you're done. And that's why I usually end up with my hands, to make sure we're there. There, can you see it's really worked its way in very nicely? I'm going to get this off of here and then finish with my hands to make sure it's the consistency I want. There. Okay, so now I'm just going to do this. See how that is? It's worked in rather nicely. You don't want big glumps, or you don't want big clumps of butter just laying there. Just work it into the flour. You don't have to do this a long time. Okay, now I'm going to put in my 2 tablespoons of water. Then I'm going to use my fork to work this around, and it will make a ball. And you can use your hands with this too, which I'm about to do. See that? You're just going to work it around, and this will be your base. See, that's going to cling together here real soon. See that? Then when I make this into a ball, I'm going to divide it in 2 and make 2 coffee cakes at once. Or I should say, this recipe makes 2 coffee cakes. There. That's very good. I think we're right there. See that? This is so easy. See that? Now I'm going to shape these to 12 by 3 pieces. You're just going to work it out. And you put them side by side. So I'm going to see if this width is good. Yeah, the width is fine. In fact, that might even be a little too wide. And then I'm going to use, this is a nice little tool that I've used quite a bit over the years. I'm going to use this. There we go. They're about 1 foot long and 3 inches wide. It's not going to be the end of the world if they're not quite that measurement. Now, I want to tell you one thing, though. I got a tip from somebody once. If you're rolling these out and you want to put a little flour on to make them roll out better, they told me this with the sugar cookies. Use powdered sugar instead, then you're not adding more flour to this. It's just sweetening it a little. That's all set. We're going to make the topping next. Now I have made the base, and that's sitting to the side. Now I'm going to make the filling, the almond filling. This is a lot as I recall how I made a choux, so we're going to go ahead and do this. I have my 1/2 cup of butter in here, my 1 cup of water. I'm going to bring this to a rolling boil. I have it on medium heat. It's kind of a medium-high heat. I'm going to turn it down right now to low, take this off. Let me move my camera. And I'm going to quickly add my cup of flour. And my 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Then you're going to quickly stir this in. I've turned that down low, see that? And I'm going to stir this till it forms a ball for about a minute. And I put the heat on low. So see this? It's coming together. It's just about there. Now I'm going to add my eggs all at the same time and beat it vigorously until it all comes together. And it's a little goofy to work with at first, but it comes together. See, it's coming together there, but it's not quite there. Let me continue. Alright, can you see now? It's smooth. You really have to put some muscle into this. It only took a couple seconds really putting the muscle in. Now I'm going to put this on top of our foundation. Now the trick here is you want to cover the entire thing, spread it evenly, try to get half and half. And my specialized tool is a spoon. You want to cover the whole base. Kind of thick, you'll see that. Then I'll do the next one. If I have to, I'll rob some from the other one if I don't think it's even. You kind of work quick. No dawdling. These are just about ready. That's a little bit thin there. Cover it as completely as you can, right up to the edges. It's all covered. I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 60 minutes. Let's do that. Well, it's been 55 minutes. I'm taking it out. It's supposed to be lightly browned and crispy on the outside, and that's what it is. Now, I want to tell you about a very fancy piece of equipment, probably the most sophisticated piece of baking and cooking equipment you can have to help you when you bake things, and that's your sense of smell. I was in the other room, and I go, that's smelling good. As soon as I think that I know it is about done. So I came in, and it was done. I put it on for an hour. I think I actually did 50 minutes and I checked it a little bit. So use your nose. When you start smelling something, realize it's probably about done. So I really let this go 55 minutes. It's perfect. We're going to let it sit and cool, and then I'm going to put a glaze on. My coffee cakes are cooling, so I'm going to make the drizzle, the frosting. Remember, the only difference between a glaze and a frosting is the thickness. Make it however thick you want. If you just want a little sprinkled on, then do a drizzle or a glaze. If you want it thicker, don't add quite so much fluid to it. Now, I've sifted my flour. I used to have one of those hand sifters, you know, but my hands with my arthritis just aren't quite as strong anymore. My thumb doesn't like it. So I use either something like this or something like this and just shake it through. And so now we're going to make our glaze or frosting. Remember, this is all up to you. Here I have 1½ cups of powdered sugar that I've sifted, 2 tablespoons of butter, softened, 1½ teaspoons of almond extract or vanilla extract. I'm going with almond. And I have here 1 to 2 tablespoons warm water. 1 to 2 tablespoons because that is if you'll make it thin or thicker. I'm going to have mine kind of in between. So I'm going to mix this together. First I'm going to put in my butter. I'll kind of work that in a little. You could also use that cutting instrument I use, but I'm just going to put this together. A lot of times I just use a fork. I don't know why I grabbed a spoon. Either one works. There. Now I'm going to add my warm water. I'm just going to put about half in for now. I'm going to put in my almond extract and I'm going to mix this. And remember, however thick you want it, that's how much warm water you're going to add. Woo! there's another blooper. I don't know how people stay so clean in the kitchen. Oh, that is way too thick. Yeah, I might even knit a little bit more than what they call for. Now this is what I would call a frosting. See how thick that is? See this? That's a frosting. And I want to make it a little bit thinner, kind of in between. So I'm going to get a little more warm water. And now you're going to eyeball. That's another valuable tool, is eyeballing it. That's a lot better. Okay, this is a lot closer. It's not a glaze, but it's not a thick frosting. I'm going to add just a little more. Now the beauty of this is, if you make it too thin, just add some more powdered sugar. Oh, this is going to be perfect. I like this. Now, when I put this on, I want you to see this is not the thin drizzle, but it's not a thick frosting. Now when I put this on the cooled coffee cake, I'm also going to add some sliced almonds also. But my coffee cake still needs to cool a little. We'll let this sit and then we'll finish the show. As you can see, I've done one coffee cake. So now I'll do the other one. Now you can put this on, like I said, as thin or as thick as you like. I just kind of start and keep going. And I will fill it in where I want to fill it in. And like I said, you can use regular vanilla also if you don't want so much almond flavor. This is pretty much done. I haven't even used half of the frosting I made. So now I'm going to put on some of this, some almond slices. And this is ready to be eaten, and it smells so good. Almond extract to me is like pure vanilla. They should make perfume of that stuff. Oh, it smells so good. There. 2 coffee cakes, very few ingredients, very easy to make. See that? I'm glad that it was requested. Almond puff.